stream going? Audio working? Oh, geez, that's a fucking bad buzzing noise. Let me see if I can... Alright. Let me see. I'll test that and see if it's fucking better. Oh, the buzzing is... The buzzing is my fucking air conditioner. Alright, never mind. It's not gonna be better. Alright. Hello, Valor. Of course. Because this chair sucks, and it's consistently falling apart. Hey, that's a great representation of my life. Let me go grab this chair part, and then I'll come back up and share this. Hello to the 2 concurrent viewers watching me drop things faster than my commitments. LMAO. Alright. So, switching to live chat. Gonna change. Gonna change tabs is what I wanted to say, but there's no reason for me to say that. I'm exhausted. It's been an exhausting week. Very exhausting. Not the least of which is because, as you can see, it's fucking hot. It's so fucking hot right now. And I don't mean my magnificent physique. I mean the temperature. You know, I'm on Threads now. And one of the things I posted, let me see if I can find it so that I can quote my magnificence directly here. But I said, so if conservatives get to point to a snowstorm or other cold weather as evidence that global warming isn't happening and take pictures in the snow and all that, I wonder what other people get to do when we're experiencing the 4 hottest days in recorded history. Really boggles the noggle. Valor says, in California, it's cold. Really? I mean, maybe you just live in a colder section of California, because my family does not agree with you. Let me see. Let me see where what the temperature is. Where I'm from. Yeah, where I'm from, it's the high today was 106. So I don't agree. I think there are certain elements of certain places in California that are fine, but like yeah, most of it is not. Yeah, but 61 degrees is still like above, you know, above freezing. I bet you live in a place with a lot of trees, because those, like, thermally insulate jive. That would be my guess. Because I can tell you from experience, like, a life of experience, that California fucking sucks during the summer, where I was from. So I assume it's just better where you are than there. And it's also, like, this isn't the coolest part of Washington either. Although it gets more snow than quite a few others. It's like considered a desert by some people. I don't believe them. I don't think that's true. But it's definitely fucking drier here than it is in quite a few other places. So, you know, 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Hello, Jack, who says, pretty chilly here in Michigan. It's 65 right now. Ah. Well, I envy that, because it's 30 degrees more here. And my family envies here because it's 10 degrees more where they are. So Valor says, I don't got a lot to talk about today. Do you really need Instagram to have threads? Yes, for now. I assume that'll be different at some point, but yeah, that's the way it is for now. I had like skin in my mouth for some reason. So let me share this around. And then I'll get to this, because I haven't shared this yet, so there are quite a few people who don't know it's up yet. Live on my channel right now, weekly discussion stream. And of course with one of my fucking mentally ill thumbnails. I'm scrolling to the bottom of one of my message groups. There we go. Pulsp. And then where is what? Yeah, okay, so just in Discord, gonna throw this here and throw it in my server. Here, acolytes. And then I got my shit shared. Cool. How was my 4th of July? Good, but in an unconventional way, because, so my landlord, knows that I'm a fucking dirty hippie. And so he occasionally throws me, in an effort not to throw things out, things that he doesn't want, but probably won't use. So, basically, he was here giving me some of this stuff, like, you know, 2-year expired pizza, and the, like, there's a lot of stuff, but, like, the point is that, like, he was here while the fireworks were going off, and apparently he's never been in this neighborhood for the 4th of July, so he didn't realize that basically people would just go into their backyard and set off industrial grade fireworks. So he was like shell shocked looking around at all the fucking explosions and shit. I don't have to go anywhere to see fireworks on the 4th. Like, and I mean that in a very specific way, because, like, for instance, the neighbors around me, I could see them from my window. You know, like, and I don't mind that. I think the fact that people are setting off illegal fireworks is great. The government is mad, great, good. So, that's my perspective on that. And the thing that happened fucking there was that I basically just found ways to rearrange my section of the fridge, because I do live with housemates still, my section of the fridge, and put all this bullshit that he didn't want in it, like multi-year expired pizzas, like deli beef, breakfast burritos, a lasagna, like stuff that he had in a deep freezer for like years and was like expired and he didn't want it. This has happened before too. So I did that. I was also rearranging a bunch of things in the basement because the like longest running housemate here moved out. So basically I got a bunch of his old stuff, and one of the people who's going to be moving to Spokane to do some mutual aid anarchy stuff bought a storage unit, and so I'm going to be putting a bunch of shit in that storage unit, and we're going to be putting all that in the new places once we get those sorted out in September, which is when I'm moving to the new place. So basically, I organized a bunch of stuff. I made sure that I got a bunch of stuff from this haul, and I got a bunch of stuff that other people didn't want. And essentially, yeah, that's how I spent the 4th. I didn't really spend the 4th doing anything exotically patriotic or 4th of July-ish. I made a post against American independence that got me called a communist. That was about it. Which, fine, fuck it. You know, at this point, I support Bakunin's version of communism. I support Spooner's version of individualist anarchy. I support, like, Friedmanite, you know, like, libertarian anarchy. I support the bottom strip. I don't know how I can make that any fucking clearer. So if somebody wants to call me a commie, it's like they're jacking off in their open mouth about it. I don't fucking care. Also, if whoever showed up last time in stream link is here. Also, feel free to like if you like this video and want to see me do that with my mouth again. Checking chat here. Valor says, I read that July 4th was the hottest day ever, but in California it was cool. So the thing is that it was the hottest day on average in the world. That's the thing a lot of fucking morons don't understand. I'm not saying that, you know, I support the alarmism of people like Gore and Thunberg. I'm saying that if you look at averages, it is warming. The question is, how much of that is human caused or exacerbated, and how much of that is like pole shifts or solar flares or natural cycles or a variety of other things. And so when you look at averages, it's like the average of the total globe, like all around the globe, right? That's what you're looking at when you're talking about warming versus cooling versus any other trend. It's generals, averages, and trends. So while some people can be dumb and take, like, you know, a measurement that's too early in the year of it being cold, or a measurement of it being too late in the year for it to be cold, to say that it's that global warming is a hoax, right? Those people aren't looking at statistical averages, and during the summer they're gonna bitch about it and turn on the air conditioner. So I'm not, all I'm saying is I don't like inconsistency. All I'm saying is I don't like that bitch ass bullshit. That's all I'm saying, you know? So yeah, so the thing about Threads is that it relies on Instagram to log in. I'm assuming that's not always going to be the way it is. Also, the thing about Threads is that it sucks. But if at some point later it's awesome, at least I'll have a built-in audience there. You know, and I'm not going to not be there because I'm already on, you know, Facebook. And, like, YouTube is owned by Alphabet, so if I was trying to avoid CIA and NSA affiliated, like, technologies and companies, I would have to delete my YouTube channel and my Gmail, and that's not gonna fucking happen. So I'm playing the cards I'm dealt. I live in a fascist super state. That's where this is. So I have Threads because I already had Instagram, because I already had Facebook, which, even though it's the platform I have talked the most concentrated and, like, continuous shit on, They're the only platform to have ever monetized my channel. You know, I've got an account. I'm not going to not have an account. So, that's the general vibe there. Evening, Cold Highway. Evening, Jonathan. Jonathan says, just tried to go live, can't seem to stream, so I'm watching you go live. Ah! Well, that's fucking odd. The gods wanted this to happen. They wanted us to meet. Hello, Jester. Also, hello, Chris. Fascism or communism if you had to live under one? I mean, if you're talking state communism, the answer is neither. And the answer is I'm going to hand people bouquets of flowers. But given the fact that fascism doesn't have an anarchist version and communism does, probably communism. Because at least I would be able to organize workers before the workers' revolution is crushed by people under the, you know, same schools that kicked out Bakunin. So, like, all I'm saying is, like, fascism automatically sucks. Communism doesn't. Like, I guess gun to my head, because there's going to be a gun to my head under either statist paradigm, communism. Because fascism will always suck, and anarcho-communism has the potential not to. So, a society that allows that, probably a little bit better. Either that, like, or just admitting and accepting the fact that, like, people aren't going to rebel unless things are bad enough. So maybe the fascist society would be riper for revolution. Who fucking knows? It would certainly crack down more on revolution. Of course, you know, there would be more birds, so. UV says new episode out now. I'm assuming of Hell of a Boss, and I'll be watching that later. Valor says my neighborhood was setting off fireworks that sounded like actual bombs. I mean, fireworks are just shiny bombs. Like, it's always funny when people try to act like this is some super civilized society, when one of the reasons that fireworks happens at all is it's a weird catharsis for people who aren't allowed to set off their own explosives. Like, we're the land of the free, but you have to wait for one day a year to set off pretty explosives. You know, that doesn't track. Well, actually multiple, but they're like, it's a celebratory, you know? It's like, you've got to have a reason for it, and you've got to get permits and all this shit. That's one of the reasons I like the illegal fireworks in my neighborhood, because A, I don't have to leave my house to see them, and B, it's illegal. Little perks. Little perks. UV says, eat the pizza, you'll get superpowers. I had pizza this morning. Some of the expired pizza, because, like, what I did with it was I added a bunch more toppings to it since I already had, like, shredded chicken and chopped ham. So I just fucked a bunch of that on it, added some more tomato sauce, added some shredded cheddar, and baked it a little bit longer. And now I've got, like, more nutritionally complex pizza. And, you know, a quarter of that plus a side dish makes a good breakfast. Valor says, I still need to avoid snacks and stuff. Apostles Fast is still going. Yeah. Jester got a new dog who discovered what mud is. Ah. Valor says, for the 4th, I spent time with 3 of my neighbors' family and my mom. Our fireworks sucked. Total scam. $50 for fire. You have to pay for that shit? What? Okay, you know, maybe if I actually went to the fireworks in this city, that would be less surprising to me, but I never had to fucking pay to see fireworks. What the hell? You have to pay an entrance fee to see fireworks? Wow, that's... I come from a small town. That's not heard of. You just go to the fucking park and do it, you know? I've never paid for... Whatever. Uh, uh, July 4th equals the invasion of Ukraine. Think of the vets. Yeah, I mean, sure, think of the vets. I would rather stop making new ones by instating an anarchist society. You know? Whenever somebody says support the troops, I just say, yeah, I support the troops. I support the troops. Bring them home. End the state. Build an actual defense, defense organization rather than an offensive organization of global empire. Um, that's my vibe. You know, like, I would rather they just not get PTSD to begin with because they weren't groomed into military service by weird, creepy recruiters. Chris says dogs go back to their house. They literally piss everywhere. Sad boy is sad. Ah. Yeah. Yeah, they're bad for dogs for sure. Jester says, will veterans get flashbacks and dogs go missing? Jack says, if you add fireworks to your spicy cocktails, then things get exciting. Valor says, did you hear about how Ukraine and Russia took a break from fighting to celebrate Orthodox Christmas? No, I didn't. But I do know that Ukraine, like, Zelensky banned the Orthodox Church, so it's a wash. Like, yeah, sure, you can temporarily celebrate Orthodox, but if you ban the Russian Orthodox Church because it's an opposition church and they might be saying scary words you don't like, then nah. It's sort of like how I used to get weirdly emotional thinking about how the troops in World War II's like put down their arms and like played football Christmas before they got back to killing each other, but it's like, you know, that's not as good a message as people think it is. In fact, it makes the opposite point, because if they're not that different, you could either say, we're all human and this showed us that we're all human, or you could say that the US is probably not actually that different from Nazis, and that's why US businesses and megacorporations and governments were like doing business with the Nazis to begin with, and maybe the global order of war is a racket, and maybe all of these things are just lies and distractions, and everybody is just as bad as everybody else, with very few exceptions. That's the message I get out of it now. Like, yeah, sure, you can put down your arms and have chum time with the Nazis. That means that you're probably not that great. It's like, you know, Tom Morello was saying, if you, if like 9 people are sitting at a table and one Nazi joins them, then 10 Nazis are sitting at the table. Something like that. I don't know. And then Tim Pool cried about it because he found out what the machine is that people were raging against. Jonathan says, just got done watching a doc on the Battle of Gettysburg. What a waste of life on both sides. Lee seemed to just waste rebel soldiers instead of going full insurgency almost purposely. Yeah. Jester is sending me a doggo vid. Oh, oh, okay. So Valor says not to see to get them. Okay. Well, why would he do that? Those are expensive. You could just go to fireworks for that amount of money. Is the fun setting them off yourself? Because like, I mean, I guess that makes sense. You want to set off the fireworks yourself. You want to like be responsible for the explosion. I guess that makes more carnal sense, but it's certainly less explosions than you would otherwise get. Chris says, I'm pretty sure on that Orthodox Christmas truth was proposed but denied. Yeah, and yeah, the World War One Christmas truce. Yeah, I fucked that up. I realized that halfway through, but Jack says Tim Pool is okay half the time, then the other half he's retarded. Well, so here's the thing. Um, he's bad the whole time. The fact that he's okay some of the time, is just him trying to pander, so that people don't walk away. But he's bad the whole time. He sucks all the time. He's just like mask off about it sometimes. But yeah, like threads in general sucks. Um just the fact that it has somewhat better people um for now doesn't mean that it's like fantastic. Like, but I got to tell you, it is so fucking satisfying to scroll down a Tim Pool thread here and see everybody telling him to fuck off. Like, he's got some likes, don't get me wrong. He's got some people agreeing with him, don't get me wrong. But the vast majority of people in Tim Pool's replies are just saying, fuck you, beanie, fucking bald, fucking all these, they just tell him to fuck off. It's fantastic. Jonathan says he's going to try to go live. Keep being you, bro. Will do. And if you want to connect elsewhere, feel free. Even on threads, where you can find me at Insanity is free until I'm eventually banned, because I'm still going to say the things Instagram was banning people for, so. Like, let me check my threads right now and see if anybody's mad. I don't think I've actually made anybody mad except a couple of people oofed me without explaining themselves. Yep, nope. Looks good for now. Oh, also, at some point I might consider having you as a guest, Chris. It might be interesting to get your perspective on this channel. But yeah, no, these are just audience interaction streams. To answer your question in the GM on Phoebe, because so the purpose of these streams and the reason they have the worst possible titles and thumbnails is because they're for like the people who are here in my audience already. And so I kind of want to close it off to the outside without closing it off to the outside. Like if people decide they want to start showing up to these, who don't watch my content normally, then they can fucking do that. You know, and I'm not going to stop them. This isn't like, you know, an actual wall in the way, but the point of this stream is sort of an informal discussion stream with my audience specifically. So I give it bullshit titles and garbage thumbnails and fuck it off. This has actually made some people mad, especially on Odyssey, where I auto back up all my videos to the blockchain. But like, it's for a reason. It's so that there's a reason to include yourself in my audience that's more than just watching videos. You'll also be able to interact with me directly. And that's the point of the vlog streams, is that they're my daily content on Saturday. Like, I will guaranteeably have content on Saturday. And they're also my way to interact with the audience directly so that they feel involved, because they're, involved. Also, it can be informal, and all this, like, side subjects can happen. So, for instance, UV says, you ever get a random cramp pain and think to yourself, this is it, this is where I'm going to die? So, occasionally, but most often at night. Like, when it startles you awake, like, you're suddenly like, yeah, I'm breaking. But yeah, Chris, at some point, might be interesting to get your perspective on some stuff. Like the benefits of leaving the US and shit like that. And just have, like, a shoot the shit session. But generally, the streams on Saturday are specifically for audience stuff. Making sure I interface with them, proving I'm a real human and not an AI. I promise. I promise. I promise. I. So. Chris also says you should get your beard dressed by a barber. Kind of part of the point is that it's not dressed at all. Like, it's fucking wild. There's so many, like, longer weird ends here. Like, it has this weird corner right now coming down this way for exactly zero reason other than this is how I take care of my beard. There we go. That's the extent of it. Chris is trying to convert Valor to Islam. Valor says I'm good. He's an Orthodox Christian. So is Jester. Since you're sort of new here, they sometimes have conversations in the chats on these streams. Valor says, someday I want to visit a mosque when I move out. Mosques are pretty, and I admire Islam even if I disagree with some of the teachings. I admire certain Muslims. I don't admire all of them. Nobody gets, like, carte blanche from me. No group is innocent. But, like, there's certain Muslims that get quite a bit right. You know? Like Brother Ali. Great music. Great rapper. Muslim. Talks about anti-war stuff. Long-running conspiracies. Ancient symbolism. Much more interesting than Andrew Tate's version of Islam, where it's just basically, I get to hit women and get away with it. Jester says, as long as they don't advocate for some rancid shit. Yep. And as long as they're not some of the people throwing, like, LGBT off rooftops. Like, don't do that if you want my support. Not that most of them care. Like, they don't give a fucking shit. I'm under no illusions that, like, me making that statement is some bold thing that's going to change anything. But, like, yeah, I mean, there's Muslims and then there's Muslims. There's different sects of everything. It's sort of like I was saying on Threads, like, when the Libertarian Party of Colorado tweeted out that the reason France is undergoing all this chaos is because of godlessness and liberalism. And I'm like, dude, you're for a party that directly quotes, like, Mises all the time. Mises wrote a book on how great liberalism is. And, dude, your party platform says that you're not supposed to endorse any sorts of, like, religious controls from a social level. So which fucking is it? You know? There are Christians and then there are Christians. I had a podcast with Hody Johns about Christian anarchy, like, 2 weeks ago. That is a Christian I can support. But the version of Christianity that a lot of alleged libertarians support, fuck that with a fucking fire hose, dude. Blow that shit out. Chris says, Tate's a motherfucker. Definitely don't want my little cousins watching him. Yeah. Valor, what the hell is going on in France? So, basically, they have a bunch of migrants who are routinely treated like shit by the police, and after one tried to drive away, and was killed while trying to drive away, basically the entire country erupted because a lot of Muslims said, yeah, we're not going to take this anymore. And a lot of, like, non-Muslims joined in because they don't like the fucking government either. Like, a lot of the yellow vesters took to the same streets for the similar protests. Like, a lot of people are sick of a lot of shit in France. And people want to pretend that it's some sort of, like, ooh, France is fallen. British people being like, oh, France is fallen. France is fallen because of those dirty Muslim immigrants. We've got to keep those dirty Muslim immigrants out of France and then they'll be fine. No. That's not how this fucking works, yo. The thing you have to do is not have an oppressive government because it's not just Muslims popping off. It's like a bunch of other people too. Like, fucking bullshit. I'm going to respond to Benjamin because he's talking in the group message, but not here for some reason. He says, "Wait, you work out that hard, and those are your arms? Are you using any supplements?" No, I'm not using supplements. I was at one point, but they're expensive. I'm trying to go the Whole Foods route. And two, the thing about my body in general is that I have hypermetabolism and hyperhormonalism. So what that means is that, like, yeah, like, I work out like an hour a day minimum, with no breaks, but my muscle is mostly just dense. It's not very showy. Like, I just got done with like an hour and 10-minute workout before this stream, so that should tell you quite a bit. Like, I've got certain areas where the assets are showing, but honestly, a lot of it is the fact that I'm into body weight workouts, and it's harder to get showy muscles like arm muscles that way. However, pretty easy to get good traps where it's like pretty easy to get strong back muscles, but like these muscles seem small, but they can pack a punch. And it's like also bone stacking. It's also a variety of other things. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yeah, that's the thing there. I'm lean. I've got a good BMI. I've got good, blood results when it comes back. But I don't produce like big roidy muscles because I'm not on roids, and because in my current economic level, I can't afford supplements. I would love like a regular supply of creatine. If people want to support me on Patreon so that I can get a routine supply of creatine, that would be one thing. But like, you know, most supplements, they're not worth it. And the protein supplements, I only get those when they're extremely cheap at grocery outlet or something. So most of the time I'm just on normal Whole Foods shit. Um, like, today I had what amounted to uh, like a third cup of ham and a third cup of chicken on a pizza that already had protein in the toppings, and I had enough protein. But a lot of it is going to these like sinewy connective muscles that are like, um, you know, like really long and really dense. And on my back, like my stabilizer muscles are great. I've got giant fucking thighs. Here, fucking, I go for runs. I I don't need giant arms, is what I'm, I guess, trying to say. So that should answer your questions. Chris says, yeah, libertarians have been having some kind of Christian co-option. Yeah, well, because they've been fucked for a while because they cuck to the right. And they consistently ignore the problem of funding from conservative sources and support from conservative sources. And they're unwilling to, improve in that regard. So they then have to culturally cuck in order to continue getting the funding, and they're encouraged by the funding to culturally cuck. So it's a positive feedback loop. I get a paycheck because I made a helicopter joke, so I make more helicopter jokes. Suddenly I'm okay with helicoptering people. Suddenly I'm okay with Pinochet's version of neoliberal fascism. Suddenly I'm okay with, the CIA. Suddenly I'm okay with all these, like, niche anti-communist efforts. Suddenly I'm okay with the Nazis that they helped, and suddenly I'm okay with Nazis. Suddenly I'm a Nazi. That sort of thing. That sort of pipeline. Or just a more direct pipeline that, because the ideas like that a lot of these people have jibe so well with a lot of the ideas that somebody had, they'll like just share that person, and then suddenly them and their audience are both in that person's audience, and it's like Nick Fuentes or something. Like there's been a strong problem in libertarian circles for a long time. I've been consistently given shit for calling it out. Jack says migrants or refugees. I mean, refugees are migrants. So some of them are refugees. A lot of them are refugees. But some of them are migrants for, like, economic reasons. Although, it could be argued that, like, basically all of them are, like, refugees at some point or another. So, your mileage may vary. Black Market says, what is your opinion on the artist known as Andy and Tart? I don't know who you are, Black Market Dealer stock photo guy, but Dan is a cunt. So the thing about Dan is that she has a whole lot of, like, political stances that she took that she's not willing to follow through on, and a whole lot of, like, social justice mentality without social justice action. She hijacks whatever issue she's involved in and immediately turns it toxic and self-serving. She's a malignant narcissist, a liar. She uses minors for her own convenience. All this stuff, no matter who she hurts, as long as it serves her malignant narcissism, she'll do it. That should tell you everything you need to know about her. Oh, and she told me to suck a shotgun. So, there's that. And all because I defended a minor she was lying about. Alright, so... yeah, UV is the one Dan lied about. UV says, Dan bullied me for no reason, bruh. Made like 5 different posts. Either way. Chris says, just chop up a bunch of cockroaches, put them in the oven, and then crush them into powder. Mix them into your oatmeal, and voila. I would rather not. I have beans. Those are enough protein. I get bags of dry beans. I have a big fuck bag of dry beans that I'm going to soak and then process into wet beans tomorrow. That's that. I'd rather do that than cockroaches. Chris says, gonna be the American diet with all the inflation nowadays anyway. Yeah, right? Fucking World Economic Forum grind set. Valor says, I gotta get out of the US. Serbia, possibly. Romania, another possibility. Greece, nope. It's up to you if you want to get out, but like me personally, I'm sticking around. I'm not going to like let them win. You can keep moving, and they can always find reasons. You know, they can always find reasons to come to your place. They're a gang, and they will freedom your ass. Jack says, does Dan have a Facebook? I think she deleted hers. I can't say no. I was about to say no, but I think she deleted hers. I do know that she has an Instagram. It's Ambient Art, and since she tried to cancel me so many times in so many ways and failed, because there are enough people who know the truth and are willing to back the truth, I'm strongly considering telling her new partner, her new business partner, not to run her clothing line. I think it'd be funny if her clothing line got canceled because she told minors to kill themselves and told me to suck a shotgun for supporting minors she was lying about. Yeah. Chris says to Valder, you can come with me to the Philippines and help oust the Pope. Yeah, Jester is one of the people Dan fucked with. Dan DeVox is another one she fucked with. Jack says, who the fuck wants that kind of headache? 7 wives? Yeah, right? Yeah, I'm definitely a monogamist. I'm not interested in that sort of thing. I want one person who can fucking stand me. That's what I want. Ah, there's the mud. Jester says marriage is between a woman and her wife. Marriage is between people who want to marry. Except pedophiles. They barely qualify as people. Bar them from everything. Chris says the trick is that you give each one a business, then they have their attention elsewhere and can make their own money. Funny. UV says, I only have one wife and she has red eyes and a tail. Yeah, I've got strong issues with a variety of people in a variety of communities. And Dan, I'm making a video on her currently that's going to explain a long series of things. Not the least of which is her participation in a server on Discord, which later turned out to be run by somebody using it to groom children. And who was already using it to scam people out of money with fake accusations of her family being transphobic. So there's going to be multiple videos on that whole situation and all the fucking bullshit. Fowler says, what did you do to piss Dan off? I stood up to her. That's literally... And like at the time, I thought Dan was a man. Not even a boy, a man. So Dan started being angry with me when she was a minor, pretending to be a 20-year-old man. So I went after this person who appeared to be an adult bullying a minor, and this minor was going to kill himself. Like, he said that this was making him suicidal and fucked up. So I was like, dude, this isn't what you fucking do. You know? If you want to be involved in social justice, then you can't do this to kids. And it turns out she was a minor herself, not, you know, for long after abusing this minor, but she was a minor herself, and lying about her gender. So, that I found out much later, like in 2023, when a bunch of other shit came out and I was accused of picking on a minor. Fuck off. She said she was a 20-year-old man, and I wasn't picking on anyone. So that's why she doesn't like me, because I'm a better person than her, and I poked holes in her bullshit. So, yeah. Video coming. And then, like, the best part is, you know, I know how it is to be falsely called a groomer. It's one of the reasons that I'm so against all this happening to LGBT people, because I know what it's like to be falsely called a groomer and just have people believe it. She called me a groomer for defending that minor and falsely accused me of a bunch of shit associated with that situation. So yeah, she's a bitch. Yeah, this went silent. I was checking to see if there was anything else in some various other places. Valor says, what the fuck, all the chat is gone. I can still see it. But yeah, I just got done with my workout, so I had a 1/4 pound of augratine. I don't fucking care. French potato ham bullshit. And now I'm having cheese ravioli with beef, beans, and tomatoes. That's my idea of gains. And also apparently a hair in it, because that dropped in the bowl, I guess. Anyway, y'all want to talk about anything else? Feel free to throw it in the chat. Chris says, gotta wear a hat in the kitchen. Yeah, but that's if you're not a dirty hippie like me. I just fucking freeball it. I'm in the kitchen with my fucking hair down. I'm not wearing a beard net. Nothing. Just sort of sparping over my food. I normally don't get hair in it, but there was definitely a hair in this bowl here. Ah, okay. We got pizza in the chat. Okay. So here's the thing that happened with me and Cass Warfox. Cass was useful in a variety of ways to helping me go against a pedophile named Riley. This Riley had a bunny persona, and I knew about this Riley and knew what this Riley's actual name was because at the time I was trying to start a libertarian content thing called timetofree.us. So basically, I accepted submissions for content, and it could be content that you posted elsewhere, but it had to have some like measure of quality. To be frank, I already thought, hey, this is bullshit, and it's kind of weird. It was all about children's rights and autonomy. Got a little bit of rage thinking about it. Dropped my chopsticks. And so it was all about, like, you know, adults should stop trying to control children so much. And whatever, like, there's some basis for that in liberty, right? But, like, to be incredibly clear, that was creepy, and the art chosen for the site was creepy. The art chosen for the like persona was creepy, and the quality of the content was not that good. And I kept on saying, you know, you need to up your quality here. You need to up your quality. Well, this person also had YouTube videos, so I watched these in order to get a better feel for who I was dealing with. And I knew what this person's voice sounded like. So when I heard on one of Cass's streams the same voice defending pedophilia, I was like, and when the person had that voice and also another bunny persona, I was like, that's the same person. And the reason I knew about it was because Hypersonic, who I hate the fact that they have that username as a Sonic fan. They do not speak for any of us. But with this, I forget her name. Fucking My Little Pony, the purple one. I don't give a shit. That one, as the profile picture, a prominent pro-contact pedophile on Gab. I was just sort of browsing their connections and being like, hey, I see this familiar bunny. What am I going to see when I click this? Is this the same Riley as before? And so I recognized the voice. I clicked a YouTube link where this person was on defending themselves. And I found this voice. I ran enough comparisons to get enough proof, concrete proof, that this was the same person, and I was running an anti-pedophile Discord at the time, where people were talking about how the same Riley, who was in that anti-pedophile Discord server, was also in another Discord server run by a prominent pedophile, Giovanni Leiftus Morgan. So basically, I heard about, like, Cass from this stream, and I sort of started to be like, you know, I know this voice. I know who that is, and I'm going to, like, blow this the fuck up on Twitter. So I did that, and I tagged a bunch of people and found my first bit of frustration in libertarian circles about this subject, because I tagged a bunch of people, and a bunch of people got angry with me. I'm showing you how a pedophile is endorsing pedophilia in your circles, and you're angry with me, motherfucker? So basically, Cass had me on to confront this person, and a bunch of other people had me on, you know, their shit to talk about the situation, and basically I really hammered it down until this pedophile said that they wanted to fuck 5-year-olds. And this was just like, you know, like, the reason I knew about Cass to begin with. But, like, I didn't agree with certain elements of Cass's strategy for a while there. I didn't like the fact that he would consistently employ slurs. In fact, I employed a slur that I'm not proud of during one of my confrontations with this pedophile because I had become way too comfortable around that sort of language. I reeled everything back after I realized that. That was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. But basically, I started to realize that Cass is a bad person associated with a bunch of bad people who do bad fucking things. Let's just say, UV, it was the F slur. I called him one of those. So, and then he called me a bunch of slurs in return. So it's not like he's great. It's not like he doesn't deserve, you know, scorn, derision, that sort of thing. I'm just not proud of the level I sunk to with that one word. I should have kept on calling him trash. That would have been so much easier. Either way, point is, fuck Cass. And I started to really notice that his server was full of a bunch of, like, fashy motherfuckers who were okay with fashy bullshit. And so I started to point this out and call them out. And I said, maybe this isn't the proper look. Because if you're trying to stop grooming, especially of vulnerable, potentially leftist people, being obvious bigots isn't a great way to not seem like obvious bigots. And to not, like, create an environment that lets these pedophiles say, hey, these people are just bigots. You shouldn't support these people. You should... We'll be more tolerant of everything about you. You know, it sucks. We should be better as anti-pedophile people and not self-aggrandizing garbage fires. And then I just basically started to notice this pattern. Cass doesn't do hunting of his own. He doesn't do hunting of his own. He lies about being a hunter while getting other people to do his dirty work for him. And then he reaps the rewards of the Fox Mafia's work and does, like, streams with these people on it. And those people are those who give him content. And so I noticed this. I noticed, hey, this is basically just a personality cult. And while it was useful to me at one point, now I'm noticing that it's a personality cult where a bunch of bigots get into a circle jerk and pretend that they're doing something great because they're opposing pedophiles. Yeah, you are. But if you're opposing pedophiles and also doing a bunch of terrible things, that doesn't make you a good guy. So I started to call it out. And one of the ways that I called it out was that I didn't like this piece of shit who was treating one of my server members at the time, who is now no longer associated, like shit. And apparently he was a violent drunk bigot who pulled a gun on somebody else on stream. That guy goes by Fox Azure. I've got so many screenshots of Fox just being absolutely stupid and unhinged. And eventually Fox just started to demand a debate from me and said that that Cass would be a moderator. Now, he didn't demand a debate because a debate is, like, you know, structured and moderated, and it has rules and time and shit. He didn't even have a subject. And Cass had already agreed to moderate this. So I went into Cass's server and I said, yeah, what the fuck is this about? Why are you helping this violent drunk bigot? And what would the debate even be about? And Cass had a little stupid meltdown over that, and his mods put me in a censorship channel in his server. Like, what's hilarious is that these people will use slur after slur and be piece of shit after piece of shit. And they will be obvious bigots defending terrible shit. But they'll do it, you know, in the name of free speech. And then anytime somebody questions them or steps over their bullshit line, they will put them in the censorship channel where they can't speak in or see the rest of the channels. And that censorship channel is called Gay Baby Jail. And they will bully these people and start voice chats with these people where a ton of people just get to hammer them. This isn't activism. This isn't fucking real. This is garbage people being garbage people. That's all it is. That's all it ever will be. And so I was put in this channel for the dastardly crime of questioning people and saying don't be bigoted pieces of shit. And because I was posting screenshots of these people being bigoted pieces of shit. And so ever since then, many people in Cass's server and circles have been bigoted pieces of shit to me on both the timeline and elsewhere. And here's the real kicker. Just to tie it into the earlier subjects, they defended Dan because part of their grift is going against paraphiles, so they went against Zerkalo as well. One of the people Dan went against. So obviously they used Dan's situation as fodder against Zerkalo, so that they could content farm the Zerkalo situation. And then, when I proved that Dan was associating with and defended by these bigoted pieces of shit, did anybody say anything about that? Fucking no! Did Dan disavow these people? Fucking no! Did anybody in these circles improve at all? Fucking no! Because they're garbage. And because they content farm. And because they created a bad community. And they're defending that bad community. So... And then Cass got really fucking roasted and deplatformed by Leo, who did an excellent series of streams where it was proven that while not specifically pedophilic, Cass will target minors with violence and other sorts of like evil shit because the minor got in their way. Say that you should kill this minor. That's what Cass does. He will be violent, bigoted garbage to anyone who gets in his way, who gets in the way of his malignant narcissist garbage. Sort of like Dan. They're very much peas in a pod in that regard. And while Dan will work with some shady people to get her way, Cass will outright have people with 4 terabytes of zoophile porn by his own admission in his server. Fucking zoophile porn. He says he has it because it's funny to him. Fuck off. So Cass's bitch-ass little Fox Mafia got called out for being pieces of shit after I had already been doing that for a significant period of time, might I add. And here we are. Pizza says Leo's part 2 on Cass TFM is coming soon. Well, hey, Pizza, if you're not already in the Hedgehog Hedge, feel free to join. I don't know if you are, but basically, yeah. Pizza says, I was the one who shared the video of Fox Azure going after his roommate before he shot at him before it was leaked. Yeah! Yeah. And the great thing is I downloaded that. I downloaded all that shit. And I downloaded so much, and I've got so many screenshots. And Cass basically isn't posting anymore because he knows his little bitch ass got called out. And there's basically no coming back from it. Other than an apology, which his malignant narcissist ass is not going to do. He's just waiting for it to blow over. Pizza says, dude, you're right on the money. He's been protecting a handful of zoos recently. Yeah. Pizza says, oh yeah, he's guilty of defending troll shielders in his circles, like he's done it so much more recently. A lot of shit has been coming to the surface about him recently after the CL controversy. Well, let me send you an invite to the server. It used to be Fi, and then it got given to me, and I rebranded and did a bunch of interesting shit with it. Now, it's an anti-troll shielder community, where I hold people equally accountable, and I'm a reasonable mod. People can verify that. Copy. This link will take you to the server. Jack says, step in shit, smell like shit. Either avoid or get rid of shit. Pretending like it isn't there does nothing for the path that the rest of your community walks. Hashtag figure it out. Yeah! It's exactly like that! Like, it's just these people pretending a problem doesn't exist rather than solving it. All the fucking time! Yo. And I'm always the villain. I've always been the villain. Until people who were calling me the villain eventually realize, hey, maybe we should actually listen to his side of the story. And, hey, somebody in these circles fucked me over too. Maybe I should hear him too. Like, yeah, told ya. And, new tree hints. You mad, bro? I mean, pretty much all the time. I'm bipolar 1 unmedicated motherfucker over here. I'm schizoaffective practically, yo. I'm mad as fuck, but I'm also right. I don't know what you're talking about. Alright. Scroll back a bit, get more of these messages. Oh, and feel free to like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Lots of this, where that came from. Isn't Literal Wildfire one who is also cool with Dan? Yeah, Literal Wildfire Benji is a piece of shit. And literally, he named himself Benji after Benja, which was the old alias of Dan. And Soulless Pacifist, which was the alias of Jane of Cringe Police, who was the grooming scammer. He's a real piece of shit, and if you call him out on anything, he will act all innocent, and he'll also block you and talk shit behind the block. Jester says, if you surround yourself with shitty people, you'll become just as shitty. Yep. Jester says, any servers with channels like Gay Baby Jail is a red flag. Yeah, it is. Jesus fuck, I hate it so much. And I've always been the villain to these people, and I've always been the villain to their sheep-like audience. Chris says, I want to make a pedo coliseum super jail. That would be hilarious. Yeah, you gotta consistently fight for your survival. You get paid in anime. Jack says, sorry, my brain is wandering, but you should Elmer's your hair and rock a massive mohawk on a stream. I wouldn't Elmer's, but I will consider doing a mohawk on a stream at some point. Let's just, okay, here's the goal. If I get $2,000 a month on Patreon, I will do it. I will rock a mohawk on a stream in celebration. Jester says, he talking about me. Ah. Valor says, Jeremiah, since you refuse medication, did you ever at least consider therapy? That's where I found out I was bipolar. Honestly, once I found out I was bipolar, that was pretty much all I needed. Like, if I had known that as a kid, if they had not just, you know, shat me out an ADHD diagnosis, which is also true, but, you know, hear me out. If they had not just shat out an ADHD diagnosis and actually gave enough of a shit to, like, think about all my symptoms and how they were affecting me and call me bipolar like I've been my whole life, things would have been so much fucking simpler. So now that I know that, and I know that I'm going to have peaks and troughs of energy, I'm going to have peaks and troughs of interest, I'm going to have peaks and troughs of depression. You know, I can just prepare for those peaks and troughs. So that's my new thing. I'm preparing for peaks and troughs, and I'm working out a lot, and I'm eating an aggressive amount of food so that my hypermetabolism, which might be at the root of my bipolarism, you know, is dealt with. And all of that makes me just mentally stable enough that I don't feel like I need to go get pilled up or lithiumed. Valor says, I unadded Benji on Discord. Father Mushroom, right? Yeah, that's him. Jack says, you see a border crisis? I see dollar signs, organs, children, slave labor, human sacrifices, cam girls. What's the price of a few dollars worth of EBT benefits and EIC compared to that? I'm not sure what you're quoting, but I mean, there's certainly a lot of corruption at the border. Jester says Benji is a walking contradiction. Because he's nothing. Like, he doesn't have any stable and consistent moral principles to speak of. Like, he's not a good person. Not remotely. He could be. But basically, when he was in my server, every time he would complain about, like, a life problem, and I would have a concrete solution for him, he would tell me to basically shut the fuck up, that he just wanted to vent. And then later on, when he kept venting, and people shut the fuck up because he told them off before, he acted like we didn't care what happened to him. Like, no, we're just not gonna get shot down when we give you real fucking solutions, bitch. That's the fucking... So, if he had actually applied the solutions that we gave him, been a better person, improved his foundations, none of this would have needed to happen. Jesus, it's so much easier to just solve your problems. And I'm not perfect. I am not perfect, okay? Let me just be super clear. This shot is framed in a way that blocks a pretty big mess in my room. I'm not proud of everything involving me. I'm not perfect. But let me be super clear that I'm trying. I'm trying to move forward on better terms, on better grounds. I'm trying to be better, and he should have tried fucking harder. And I stand by that. Black market dealer says, LMAO, Dan messaged my meme account. What, just now? That would be hilarious. Pizza, you should be able to see the chat history now. I don't know why. I wonder how many people didn't have that role that joined. That would be interesting. Because basically I needed to give you a trusted role so that you could see the chat history. Jack says you can't control the effort of others without a lure or deterrent. I'm not trying to control him. If he wants to be a piece of shit, he can be a piece of shit elsewhere. And I'll call him a piece of shit. I have way too little time and a limited time and limited energy left on this fucking planet. I'm not going to spend a fucking second of it trying to control somebody else. Life is short. Trying to control other people is devoid of meaning and creates a purposeless existence of narcissistic and malignant tendencies. I hate it. If he wants to be a piece of shit, I will simply call him a piece of shit. And if he decides that he wants to improve, he can do that. Controlling him? No. I hate the fact that I even gave as much energy as I have to him already. You know? I hate the fact that he embedded himself deeply enough in certain circles that I'm even talking about him right now. I hate him on a deep level. So try to control him? No. He's already vampirically sucked out so much of my fucking energy. Either way, if you're in the server, black market dealer, stock photo guy, you're free to throw the screenshots in there. Also wrapping it up in 9 minutes at the 1.5 hour mark. So if y'all want to talk about anything else, feel free. Jack says, focus on your growth. Knowing your conditions allows you to address them. Drop them from your mind completely. You can do this. Focusing on shit makes the world seem shitty. Hate is a hot coal. I'm not going to not be hateful, but I want my hate to be useful. You know? Like, it can be a motivating factor to do great things. But it's not a great thing to focus on a small person who can't change things for you. Benji is insignificant. He won't stop me. None of these people will stop me. Not even Dan and her 100,000 follower AndyandTart Instagram account. None of these people are going to stop me. None of them. You know? And I'm not going to allow my hatred to blind me. I'm going to use it to focus me. Because it's been way too long since I've been focused. I need to get a lot of things done, and I do not have time to try to control people. Even people I hate. Leo says, the first rule in your server, what does that mean exactly? Well, just to be clear, first off, great series on fucking the cast situation. I watched those streams front to back. 2 times speed, though, just to be clear, because fucking I have a low attention span. But second thing is, those rules are old rules before the server was handed to me, so I didn't write them. But let me look. Rules. No harassment allowed. So that was to prevent the server from being taken down. If there's a zoo in there, I'm going to kick them. He was saying don't harass people in the server, basically. But I'm going to rewrite the rules because I want them to be clearer and less, like, weirdly ambiguous. Like, I don't care what people do outside the server. And, you know, arguably a lot of what I do could be constituted as something similar to that. So, you know, I want to be clear and consistent. But that rule is primarily to preserve the server. It's to protect the server and the people in it from bans. You know, it's basically a reiteration of a terms of service that people already signed and should already know, but it's making it clearer in terms of the server to make sure that that doesn't happen. Leo says, I appreciate the kind words. Part 2 is going to be a nuke. I really don't like what I've found. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, no problem. And, hey, if you're interested, feel free to join my server. And also, if you're interested, feel free to follow on Twitter. I will follow back. I do appreciate your work on that situation because, you know, I don't know if you remember, but I felt kind of alone in being against Cass for a significant period of time there. And, like, when I was exposing him, and got a bunch of people, including Coyote Lovely, who, yikes that situation, mad at me. You know, I was basically like being dogpiled both in Discord and outside of Discord by like 100 people, because they were all his little toady bitches. So it was good to see somebody like join the effort and do such a substantially good job at the effort. I watched your video on it, and then I watched the stream on it, and part 2 I'm definitely also going to watch. So basically, I went over it earlier in the server, but Cass and I met over taking down a pedophile that I wanted to remove from libertarian circles because, for reasons, I recognized the little bitch's voice. And ever since then, I grew distant from Cass and his efforts because I noticed he was affiliated with a bunch of violent bigots who would be pieces of shit to people because they were satisfying malignant narcissism and not because it actually helped. Like, actually, you know, I mean, if you're still working on the video and you want a statement about even more corruption in Cass's circles, feel free to hit me up because I can give you more. But this is the audience engagement stream, Leo. Just to answer your latest thing. I do a weekly stream where I talk to my audience, like, for an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes 2. But it's not really an interview stream. If you want to be on my channel and have a discussion, though, I am down. How about we schedule a stream specifically for that? Would you be interested in that? Let me know. Because I would rather have it be at self... This is called Shadowbrow. The thumbnail and title of the stream are intentionally garbage in order to make sure that the people who know about this stream are people in my audience and pretty much only them. Cool. Well, let me know about that then, Leo. All these people saying don't forget me when you make it big. No, I'm never going to be one of those people that like ditches people, but also I'm still going to do these streams and shit. I'm never going to not be this way. I'm just going to be more focused, not let other people pilot my energy and shit. But yeah, I'm down. UV says, I need some advice. How do I respond to people DMing me threats and insults and such? I collect them like souvenirs. I mean, that's not necessarily like the healthiest thing to do, but personally, if I get hate mail, if I get people telling me to off myself, if I get people, like, you know, insulting me, I'll screenshot it. It's another piece of ammo later to use as, like, evidence that my haters are not rational, that my detractors don't have a point. But yeah, Leo, I look forward to that, because I appreciated your stream, and because I've got a story of my own. So, you can, like, we can do the stream on my channel, or on your channel, and then you can just take whatever clips from that you want and put them into your new video about it. UV says, I mean, I guess, but it still hurts to see. 100%. Like, I'm human, yo. Like, it sucks when I get this shit, but personally, my whole deal about the situation is that I'm not going to be able to stop them. If people want to insult me, they're going to do it. So, I would rather just use it as fuel. It's fuel for me. I'm going to crush them. Long term, my long game, they're not going to stop me. I'm going to win in my own way anyway. And eventually, people that they hurt along the way are going to come to me and say, yeah, you know what, they were actually just pieces of shit to more than one person, and I was one of the people they were pieces of shit to. It's a very standard reaction. Also, welcome to the server, Leo. Welcome to hell. Or actually, I should say that in my demon voice. Welcome to hell. Fucking, I found out I could do that sort of growling a really long time ago. Either way, yeah, this is one of the servers where people get to say things on both sides of various issues, and ultimately, the rules that I have are no paraphiles. So you're gonna see a lot of people in there that I don't necessarily agree with, but that, I feel it's important to have an open dialogue of a variety of sorts. But either way, yeah, welcome. Yeah, I have I have no patience anymore for people who hate me. I have no patience anymore for people who have no argument against what I'm saying. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. Also, this is a different server, UV and Valor. Well, Valor knows that. He's in there. But UV, I don't think you're in there still. I think you left that a long time ago, so let me repost the link and you can rejoin. Because this is a different server than the one you're in. Oh, also, this server has open invites. I pause them at night because I don't want to raid. But it has open invites, so feel free to invite people if you do decide you like it here. But yeah, so this is a weekly engagement stream. I do this once a week so that I can, talk to specifically my audience. But I look forward to the stream. Iris was a cunt. Iris took Cass's side, and kept on demanding that I join one of his dumb VCs, so that he and his friends could bully me for being opposed to bigotry, and his violent drunk friend Fox Azure. So I mean, they all started lashing out in public, and they all started coming at me very sideways, and eventually I just stopped giving them energy because I thoroughly disapproved them in public after they had already censored me on the server, and then eventually banned me. So Leo says, Iris has been doing a lot of growing and realizing that she shouldn't be in spaces like that. She's trying to do better. Well, I mean, she's welcome to come and personally tell me that. But I think, until I hear it from these people that were, all joining dog piles against me, I'm not probably gonna believe anything involving them. Because as far as I'm concerned, a lot of these people are malignant narcissists, and I'm not saying that she is one, but she exhibited malignant narcissist tendencies for sure when she attacked me. So, I'm not going to, if these people want to demonstrate the opposite of malignant narcissist tendencies, then we can go there. But Cass is definitely a malignant narcissist. Dan is a malignant narcissist. A lot of the people we've been discussing today have been malignant narcissists. It's just a recurring problem in certain circles. So anyway, Jester says I die the day I become a narcissist. Yeah. Anyway, Leo, message me what day over the next week works for you for this stream. We'll see if we can get something going. Because I'm gonna go make my second dinner for my hypermetabolic ass. And I've also got content I'm going to be putting out tomorrow and the next day. Leo says Cass is something worse than a malignant narcissist. He's a coward. Yeah, and a cult leader. His place operates exactly like a cult, not a mafia. There's no controlling turf. There's no cool fucking drive-by shootings. It's not a mafia. It's a fucking cult where all its stupid little members get to be dumb and or just egregiously terrible. And like, he encourages it. Jack says, did you hear that the mayor of South Fulton, Georgia was arrested on burglary and trespassing? I didn't, but that's definitely content. Throw me a DM about that. I'll see if I can make something about it. Either way, be well all. Smash the fucking state.